Hey Jerks, and welcome back to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Matt.
And I'm Luke.
And today we are drinking a ridiculously packaged beer. This is Agnostos Theos.
So Agnostos Theos is it's a Bueno beer. So it's actually it's a sparkling brut ale that's made with Chardonnay. So this beer came about in collaboration with a good friend of ours, Jules van Costello, who's just a really talented winemaker and a wine retailer. He has a company called Cult Wine, and he's just a huge fan of just the interesting wine. You know, the sort of wines that you come across that are sort of like pet nats, orange wines, things that are low intervention, things that are fermented in amphora on skins. There's this whole new trend of interesting wines coming out that are somewhat taking inspiration from craft beer, and we're seeing younger winemakers, we're seeing some really interesting packaging. So it's really, really cool what's happening in the world of wine in general at the moment. And nice work.
Got that.
So Jules has been doing a lot of really cool stuff, and also he's a huge beer fan. So we're good pals, and we collaborate every year on a beer and wine festival called Wildstock. And we often work together on various different things. We've been meaning to make a beer together since we started to make beers. Oh, I should say, so Small Gods, if you don't know, is Matt and me. So we love doing a lot of interesting collaborations, working with different people. So it's a really natural thing to work with Jules, and we finally got round to it. And we asked him what's happening, what's in season, and it was the Chardonnay harvest.
Yeah, so harvest was coming up, and as Luke said, we talked about a bunch of different styles for this beer, and
so many ideas. I think this might be the start of a lot of Bueno beers for Small Gods, perhaps.
Yeah, I hope so. But with Chardonnay, we sold on what was going to work well with that kind of white wine, white grape character, and we settled on this being a Chardonnay brut sparkling ale. So to break that down, it was brewed with 10% Chardonnay grape juice fresh from the harvest. So that came straight from being pressed at the winery to the brewery, where it went in in the ferment to contribute that wine character.
So grapes from Eskdale in the Hawke's Bay. So really fantastic Chardonnay grapes.
Yeah, and so brut means dry. So we fermented it with an enzyme which breaks down all the sugars that are the carbohydrates into simple sugars. Which allows the beer to ferment super dry and give it that kind of nice, bright vibrancy. And a sparkling ale, we wanted to give it a little hit of carbonation. It's dry hopped with a little bit of Nelson Sauvin, and then after that we aged it on Chardonnay skins from the same harvest. So it's kind of to add kind of a little more depth of flavour on that wine grape aspect.
Yeah, we joked a bit when we were making this beer about who is it for. Because generally wine people are wine people and beer people are beer people. So you can never please everybody. I'm sure a lot of people won't like this beer. But what I really love about this beer is it just gets the Chardonnay character and grape aspects that comes through really clearly. There's a real clarity of flavour there, which is that was the idea of the beer. But it doesn't taste like wine. It's not overly vinous, but it tastes like grapes.
Yeah,
I'm explaining it very well.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same astringency, acidity, and mouthfeel of wine. And I think that what we went for with that sparkling ale aspect really plays into that. Is that kind of bright spritziness. However, I'm not a big fan of champagne. And I find that champagne yeast character is kind of dominant and a little off-putting for me. So having that really clean ferment on it with the yeast that we chose. Means that you're getting all those vibrant Chardonnay grape characters coming through, contributed to by the Nelson Sauvin hops, which have that kind of it's named Sauvin after Sauvignon Blanc to again link them to a white wine, kind of bringing those flavors in on that base, which is unmistakably beer. It's a nice dry bright sparkling ale, and that Chardonnay character just plays so nicely into it. I'm really happy with how just clean and bright and flavorful it is.
It drinks like simple. A beer, but it's got this whole new direction, which is, as I say, that's what we're kind of excited about, maybe doing other things with wine grapes, because it's a whole new ingredient to play with, and things that, it's an ingredient that's got thousands of years of agriculture and history behind it, so there's a lot to draw from there. But when Jules first tasted this beer, he described it as elegant, which I think perhaps it's the first elegant small gods beer that we've made. They're often quite a bit bolshy.
I think our table beers are fairly elegant, but
yeah, good point.
But yeah, I mean that's what we were really going for, is that it's bright and balanced, and it's complex without being fussy. Even though the process was reasonably fussy in terms of the way it was brewed, just it drinks so smoothly and cleanly, but with a flavour profile that you don't normally see.
So it's a beer that's going to pair really nice with food.
Yeah.
So this would go well with, I suppose like white fish would go really nicely, hey? Like breadcrumb white fish sort of thing?
Yeah, white fish. It could work with a ceviche if you want to kind of bump up that acidity and play in that area. Chicken, something like a risotto, it would go well with.
Yeah, just think with a bit of fat, maybe something like a pastry, or some kind of pie perhaps.
Chicken and mushroom pie.
Chicken and mushroom pie could be a good combo.
Go.
Yeah.
But one thing that you will probably all have noticed about this beer is we dipped it in wax. Now, the reason that we did that is
because we do that.
Because we felt like it and we thought it looked cool. Sorry for all of you at home who are struggling with opening your bottle. Some of you at this point in the video might not have even managed to get it open yet. And
keep at it.
Keep at it. We're very sorry about that. We just thought it looked really cool and we wanted to do it, so we did.
Please don't injure yourselves getting in.
Yeah. So my recommendation, if you're wanting to open it, if you have a barkeeper's friend, like a wine knife, you can get the little foil cutter and just work your way around under the crown cap there to give yourself a little bit of room to purchase, and then you can pop the top right off.
And there is science behind wax dipping bottle caps, which it keeps the oxygen out and it can keep your beer in a better condition, but that's not really relevant here whatsoever. We just did it because we think we're cool.
Yeah, we did it for fun.
So on that, so traditionally bottles of beer that are wax dipped are generally big imperial stouts or barley wines or things that are aimed for the cellar for aging. We recommend you drink this fresh. Well, you are. You're drinking it right now if you're watching this. So I mean, perhaps it would change with age. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to improve much with age.
We didn't design it for aging.
It's a light, bright beer with kind of the flavour profile's got a lot of volatile fruit characters in it from the wine and from the hops. So yeah, really drink it fresh.
And similarly, with temperature, this is a beer to be drank nice and cold, straight from the fridge. Not like those barley wines and imperial stouts that you want to get to cellar temperature.
Yeah, I would be interested in future when working with Jules to do something like a Brett version of this.
Yeah,
but that doesn't exist yet. But that's just a new idea I'm having while we're making this video. So
if any of you home brewers want to make one of those and send us a bottle, send it our way.
Yeah.
We'll get around to it at some point.
Yeah.
And it's called Agnostos Theos, which is Greek, right?
Yeah, so in ancient Greece, in Athens, there was a shrine to an unknown god, or Agnostos Theos. So obviously when we were coming up with the name and the concept for this beer, we were looking at the name Known Unknown, which is the wine brand that we collaborated with Jules. And it was like, what in mythology is all about what's known and what's unknown, and secrets and things that are forgotten and things that are hidden. And so yeah, in Athens there was this temple to the unknown god, where the Athenians would pray when they didn't know who to pray to, when they thought that their prayer didn't go directly to any of their pantheon, to Zeus or Apollo or Poseidon or any of those myriad ancient Greek gods. There was also a small place for an unknown god, and I think that was taken later on by Christians as proof that they knew that they weren't worshipping the right thing, and they worshipped this unknown god. So that shrine that was originally in Athens is now found in a museum in Rome. It's been moved there, but it's a really cool story about that kind of the unknown, and kind of plays into agnosticism, where agnostos comes from, the not knowing what to believe and who to worship, but believing in a higher power, but not being able to quantify it and put rules around it and stuff like that. So that's the origin of Agnostos Theos.
And another part of the temple of the unknown god, which I think is lovely, is there's a school of thought which is thinking about gods that have been forgotten. And obviously we're big Neil Gaiman fans and Terry Pratchett fans, and it's wonderful to think of people in ancient Athens thinking, well, yeah, we've got all these different gods, but maybe the elders many years ago had gods that they worshipped to, and they might be angry that we're not worshipping them. We've forgotten their names, forgotten what they look like, but we'll worship this at this altar, and they'll be honoured.
And along the same vein, new gods who, like, we've just invented this trebuchet. Like, is there a god of that? I don't know, but worship the unknown god to make the trebuchet work. Stuff like that. So it's a thing that, as Luke said, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, who we draw a lot of inspiration from, play with those ideas in their work quite a bit. We've got the new gods and the old gods, and gods that are forgotten, and gods that are rising up, and the power of belief. And it's a really cool area, and recommend checking their work out if you haven't already.
Well, I've been really enjoying this beer over the last couple of weeks. We've been on tap here at the Fridge and Flagon. We have got probably like 100 bottles left. There aren't many.
If that, I'd say less than probably.
Yeah, so we've dipped the final bottles now. There are not many left. So if you do want to grab some, hit the website, you'll find some. And I think we did a pretty good job making this, and as did Jules. Good collaboration. Yeah,
really happy with that. If you want to try some more Small Gods beers, you can join us at a couple of Small Gods events that we've got coming up. Next Thursday, so if you're watching this on the Beer of the Week day, that is a week today, you can come and drink your Beer of the Week in person with us at Sacha on K Road, where we're hosting a degustation evening, pairing 5 courses of delicious Indian street food with 5 Small Gods beers, a bunch of which you haven't tried yet because we haven't released them yet.
Nobody knows about them.
So those tickets are available on the Beer Jerk website now, or you can find them on our Facebook page. $65 for an incredible night of food and beer that I definitely recommend checking out.
And we've only got 14 tickets left, so grab those. They're not going to last long.
Yeah. And then after that, on Friday and Saturday here at the Fridge and Flagon, we are hosting the Small Gods Winterval. We have a bunch of cellared Small Gods beers like Black Narcissus, Reflection of Narcissus, and a whole host of others that you can check out the list on the Fridge and Flagon Facebook page. And we're going to have a DJ, we're going to have a food truck. So if you want to get an awesome 12-tap Small Gods tap takeover to say a little temporary farewell to the Fridge and Flagon as Luke heads off overseas for a little bit, and we close the doors and hunker down for winter, then come and join us here and celebrate with us.
Big last hurrah. We're going to be pouring a couple of brand new Small Gods beers that we haven't even teased on social media. No one knows about them. So 2 brand new upcoming ones. And Passa Passa is the food truck, which is a really fantastic Italian food truck. The chef's going to be making, I don't quite understand how it works, but he said deep fried pizzas. So I guess there's a combination between like Langosh, Turkish, fried bread and pizza.
You had me at deep fried pizza.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So that is on the Friday night and the Saturday afternoon and into the evening. On the, is that 8th and 9th?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but weekend after this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I hope you enjoy our beer as much as we do.
Yeah, and I hope you're able to get the bottle open. Cheers.
Cheers.